Feel the gentle pull of the current, where the Mekong River, one of Earth's great lifelines, threads through the heart of Southeast Asia like a living artery, flowing 4,050 kilometers from the snow-fed glaciers of the Tibetan Plateau to the South China Sea, sustaining more than 60 million people across 6 nations. Known locally as Mae Nam Kong, Mother of Waters, the Mekong is not merely a river, but a seasonal pulse, shaping civilizations for over 5,000 years. In northern Laos, the river slows its breath. Between the UNESCO-listed royal capital of Luang, Prabang, and the border town of Huay, gateway to the Golden Triangle, the Mekong unfurls across a 300-kilometer stretch of mist-veiled water. Here, the river winds between karst limestone cliffs, jungle-draped hills, and terraced rice paddies engineered by Mae hand over generations. Monsoon clouds cling to forest canopies. Dawn fog lifts slowly from the surface like memory itself. This is not a river of urgency. It is a corridor of slow travel, where movement is measured in hours, not kilometers, where wooden longboats and traditional slowboats replace engines of haste. In 2025, northern Laos has emerged as one of Asia's most compelling, low-impact ecotourism regions, driven by post-pandemic demand for immersion, sustainability, and cultural continuity rather than spectacle. Here, the journey is the destination. Hydrologically, this section of the Mekong is uniquely dynamic. Seasonal monsoon cycles, delivering up to 80% of annual rainfall between May and October, cause the river to rise by as much as 10 meters, flooding riverbanks and replenishing soils with nutrient-rich sediment. These annual pulses sustain rice cultivation, river fisheries, and floodplain gardens, forming one of the most productive freshwater ecosystems on Earth. Ecologically, the Mekong Basin is a global biodiversity hotspot. It supports over 1,100 fish species, second only to the Amazon. Even in northern Laos, rare species such as the giant freshwater stingray, Irrawaddy dolphin, historically, and migratory catfish once thrived, though today they face mounting pressure from upstream dams and climate variability. Conservation-led tourism initiatives now partner with local communities to protect spawning grounds and reduce destructive fishing practices, aligning livelihoods with preservation. Culturally, the river binds together an extraordinary mosaic of peoples. Along its banks live Lao Lum lowland communities, alongside upland ethnic groups such as the Khmu, Hmong, Tai Lue, and Akha. Each maintains distinct languages, textiles, rituals, and cosmologies, yet all share reverence for the Mekong as a sentient force. Elders speak of Naga spirits, serpentine guardians believed to dwell beneath the river's surface, controlling floods, fertility, and fortune. These beliefs are not folklore relics. They guide planting cycles, river ceremonies, and village ethics to this day. As we drift downstream, we will enter villages accessible only by water, places untouched by roads, where electricity arrived within the last decade and oral history remains the primary archive. Here, stories pass from grandparent to child beside cooking fires, of floods that erased fields and returned them richer, of ancestors who followed the river's bends to settle new ground, of the delicate balance between taking from nature and honoring it. Our journey culminates in celebration. Each dry season, communities gather for traditional slow boat festivals, events rooted in ancient river rituals but newly reimagined for sustainable cultural tourism. Monks bless vessels, villagers race hand-carved boats, music echoes across the water. Visitors are welcomed not as spectators but as temporary participants, guests in a living system rather than consumers of it. This is the northern Mekong not as postcard, but as process, a rhythm of water and land, of memory and renewal, of movement without haste. This is Laos's northern Mekong, riverine rhythms, where the river does not carry you away, but brings you deeper in. Let the current carry us forward. From Luang Prabang, the river loosens its grip on history and begins to wander. As the slow boats push off from the muddy banks at dawn, engines rumbling softly, the Mekong becomes both road and lifeline. These vessels, locally adapted hybrids of traditional rivercraft and modern transport, are built long and shallow-drafted to navigate fluctuating depths. In peak season, they may carry 70 to 100 passengers, sacks of rice, motorcycles, chickens in woven baskets, and the quiet commerce of daily survival. The pace, rarely exceeding 20 kilometers per hour, is deliberate, dictated by submerged rocks, shifting sandbars, and the river's own will. Navigation here is not fixed by maps alone, but by memory. Boat pilots read the Mekong like a living script, subtle color changes revealing depth, ripples betraying hidden boulders, floating debris signaling upstream rain. Many captains come from families who have worked the river for generations, inheriting knowledge passed orally rather than charted, an embodied science shaped by decades of monsoon cycles. Geographically, this stretch of the Mekong is among its most dramatic. In the wet season, fed by torrential rainfall from the Annamite Range and tributaries like the U and Tha rivers, the Mekong can swell to depths approaching 90 to 100 meters in narrow channels, expanding laterally to engulf floodplains and forests. Water levels rise by as much as 12 to 14 meters, transforming the river into a broad, slow-moving inland sea. Nutrient-rich sediment, estimated at millions of tons annually, settles across the plains, renewing soils and sustaining subsistence rice agriculture without chemical inputs. In contrast, the dry season exposes the river's skeleton. From November to April, receding waters reveal jagged limestone outcrops, braided channels, and sandbanks that force boats to zigzag through precarious passages. Navigation becomes slower, more technical. In extreme low water years, now increasing due to upstream hydropower regulation, sections of the river become impassable, isolating villages that rely entirely on river transport. Ecologically, the Mekong here supports one of the most productive inland fisheries on Earth. More than 200 documented fish species inhabit northern Laos waters, many migratory, timing their spawning runs to the rising floods. Among them is the legendary giant Mekong catfish, Pangasianodon gigas, once reaching weights of 300 kilograms, now critically endangered due to habitat fragmentation and altered flow regimes. Smaller species, carps, barbs, snakeheads, form the nutritional backbone of rural diets, providing up to 70% of animal protein for riverine communities. Fishing practices remain largely artisanal. Cast nets bloom like silver flowers at sunset. Bamboo fish traps are anchored. Inside channels, seasonal fishing taboos, rooted in animist belief and Buddhist ethics, restrict harvests during spawning months, a traditional conservation system now under pressure from climate change and commercial demand. Life along this river is calibrated to its rhythms. Villages are built on stilts to withstand floods. Cropping calendars mirror the water's rise and fall. Children learn to swim before they can read. Yet the Mekong is no gentle parent. Floods have displaced entire settlements, while prolonged droughts linked to El Niño cycles and upstream dams have collapsed fish stocks, forcing migration towards cities or across borders. Still, the river endures. As the boat glides past sheer limestone cliffs and forested bends, the sense emerges that this is not merely a journey through space, but through time, through a living system that predates borders, kingdoms, and maps. The Mekong here is ancient, adaptive, and watchful. Ahead lie villages without roads, where the river remains the only artery of exchange. Ahead, stories carried not by books, but by current and memory. And so we drift onward, not against the river, not across it, but with it. As the Mekong bends toward the northwest, the river loosens into a string of human constellations, villages appearing not by chance, but where geography, belief, and survival have long converged. The first revelation comes quietly at Pak-u, where sheer limestone cliffs rise directly from the water, their dark mouths opening into the Pak-u caves, Tam Ting and Tam Theung. For over 700 years, pilgrims have ferried Buddha images here, wooden, stone, lacquered, some no larger than a fist, others nearly life-sized, leaving them as acts of merit-making. Today, more than 4,000 statues crowd the caves, their surfaces smoothed by humidity and incense smoke. Archaeologists note that the caves likely held animist significance even before Buddhism arrived in the 16th century, a pattern common along the Mekong where sacred geographies were adapted rather than erased. The site's placement, at the confluence of river currents, reinforces its symbolism: transition, accumulation, and spiritual passage. Beyond Pak-u, the river grows quieter. After 6 to 7 hours of drifting, the boat reaches Pak Beng, a functional yet revealing settlement of roughly 4,000 residents, strategically positioned at the mouth of the Beng River. Historically a Khmu trading outpost, Pak Beng evolved into a riverine waypoint during the French colonial period and later became indispensable to modern slow-boat travel. By dusk, its single steep road glows with lantern light as Hmong and Khmu vendors assemble a night market, selling indigo-dyed textiles, silver jewelry, bamboo sticky rice tubes, khao lam, and freshly grilled river fish. The town's economy is cyclical and transient. It swells with travelers at night and exhales them again by morning, mirroring the Mekong's own pulse. The deeper one ventures, the more the road disappears. Past Pak Beng, detours lead into places still shaped by isolation. Muang Ngoi Noa, reachable only by boat along the Nam U tributary, rests in a limestone amphitheater where vertical cliffs trap morning mist until late afternoon. Once a strategic zone during the Indochina Wars, Muang Ngoi was bombed heavily in the 1960s and 70s. Tam Kang Cave, now a serene swimming hole, served as a shelter for hundreds during air raids. Today, the village remains roadless by choice as much as geography. Electricity is intermittent, agriculture remains subsistence-based, and tourism, carefully limited, supports homestays and local guides rather than external investors. These settlements are home primarily to Lao Lum, Khmu, and Hmong communities, each with distinct languages, agricultural practices, and spiritual cosmologies. Homestays here are not curated experiences, but lived exchanges. Travelers sleep on woven reed mats, bathe from ceramic jars, and rise, before sunrise, to the rhythmic pounding of rice mortars. Meals center on sticky rice, wild greens, river fish fermented into padek, and forest herbs gathered daily. Dietary patterns that have changed little in centuries. It is in the evenings that the river speaks most clearly. Elders gather beneath stilted houses or in long communal halls, illuminated by oil lamps or low-watt bulbs, and begin the stories. Central among them is Phaya Naga, the great serpent spirit believed to inhabit the Mekong's depths. In Lao cosmology, the Naga is not a monster, but a custodian, controller of rainfall, fertility, and balance. Offerings of bananas, rice liquor, and incense are made before journeys or planting seasons, especially at river confluences and rapids where the Naga's presence is strongest. Each October, near the end of Buddhist Lent, villagers along the Mekong report witnessing mysterious fireballs rising silently from the water, known locally as Bangfai Phaya Naga. Scientists attribute these to ignited methane or phosphine gases released from river sediments. Yet for river communities, explanation does not diminish meaning. These lights are interpreted as blessings, omens of stable floods and generous harvests. The elders' stories always return to the monsoon. Northern Laos receives 1,800 to 2,500 millimeters of rainfall annually, concentrated between May and October. These rains flood rice paddies, recharge fisheries, and sustain forests, but they also trigger landslides, erode riverbanks, and claim lives. Climate records show increasing variability, shorter, more intense rain events and longer dry spells. Elders note that floods now come out of season, a disruption they interpret as the river responding to disrespect. Dams upstream, forests cleared, rituals neglected. Here, animism and Buddhism coexist without contradiction. The Mekong is both a physical system and a moral one, alive, observant, reciprocal. To take without gratitude invites imbalance. To travel without humility risks misfortune. These beliefs are not metaphorical. They function as environmental ethics, governing fishing limits, forest use, and communal responsibility long before the language of sustainability existed. As our boat continues its slow northwestward drift, these villages recede into foliage and mist, but their wisdom lingers. They remind us that the Mekong is not merely a river to be crossed or photographed. It is a relationship, one negotiated daily, told through stories, honored through restraint, and carried quietly, persistently, by the current itself. Deeper into the hills, beyond the river's immediate reach, northern Laos reveals a human landscape as layered and resilient as its terrain. More than 40 officially recognized ethnic groups live across Laos, and nowhere is this diversity more concentrated than in the northern provinces of Luang Namtha, Udomshe, Phongsali, and Bokyo. Collectively, ethnic minorities account for roughly 40% of the regional population, shaping a mosaic of languages, belief systems, and land use traditions refined over centuries of adaptation to monsoon cycles, steep slopes, and political change. The Hmong, highlands, memory, and resilience. The Hmong, among the most visible highland communities, trace their origins to southern China, migrating southward in waves during the 18th and 19th centuries to escape Qing-era persecution. In Laos, they settled above 1,000 meters elevation, favoring cooler climates and defensible ridgelines near places such as Muang Sing and Pho Ka Koe. Historically, Hmong agriculture relied on rotational swidden farming, cultivating upland rice, maize, and, until international eradication programs of the 1990s, opium poppy, which once functioned as both medicine and trade currency. Cultural identity is encoded in material form. Hmong silver jewelry, sometimes weighing several kilograms, serves not merely as adornment but as portable wealth, dowry, and spiritual protection, believed to anchor the soul during illness. Shamanic healing ceremonies led by Turkiksiv Nib, shamans, remain central to community health. Illness is often interpreted as spiritual imbalance or soul loss, particularly during the rainy season when malaria, dengue, and waterborne diseases peak. Drumming, chanting, and spirit negotiation restore harmony between body, ancestors, and landscape. The Hmong New Year, timed after the rice harvest in November or December, is both agricultural marker and social anchor. The iconic POV POB ball-tossing rituals, young men and women tossing embroidered cloth balls, function as structured courtship, echoing pre-modern systems of alliance building vital for survival in isolated highlands. The Akha, borders, spirits, and thresholds. The Akha, numbering roughly 100,000 in Laos, inhabit some of the most remote ridgelines near the borders with China and Myanmar. Their villages are organized according to a strict cosmological order governed by a kazang, an oral code transmitted through generations. At the heart of every settlement stands the Spirit Gate, a carved wooden structure marking the boundary between the human world and the wild, ritually renewed each year to protect against disease, floods, and misfortune during the monsoon. Akha agriculture is a masterclass in environmental adaptation. On slopes exceeding 30 degrees, they construct narrow terraced fields, stabilizing soil with bamboo and forest litter. Planting follows lunar and ancestral calendars rather than fixed dates, aligning crops with rainfall patterns and insect cycles. The women's elaborate headdresses, adorned with silver coins, beads, and sometimes fossil shells, signify lineage, marital status, and clan identity, transforming history into wearable archives. The Khmu, the river's first keepers. The Khmu, the largest ethnic minority in northern Laos, are considered among the region's earliest inhabitants, predating Thai Lao migration by centuries. Traditionally settled along tributaries of the Mekong and Nam U, Khmu culture is deeply river-oriented. Elders recount migration histories through oral epics linking clans to specific watersheds, forests, and iron deposits. Khmu villages emphasize communal living, with shared longhouses and collective labor systems known as helping hands, activated during planting, harvesting, and flood recovery. Their reputation as skilled blacksmiths is well-earned. Khmu forges once supplied knives, hoes, and fish spears across northern Laos, tools designed specifically for wet season durability and bamboo architecture. Spiritual life revolves around house spirits, forest spirits, and rice souls, all of which must be appeased to ensure agricultural success. During harvest, offerings of sticky rice and rice wine are made to prevent the rice spirit from abandoning the fields, a belief mirroring ancient animist traditions across mainland Southeast Asia. Harmony as survival strategy. Despite pressures from road construction, state resettlement programs, and tourism, these hill communities retain a shared philosophy. Human survival depends on ecological balance. Planting is timed to lunar cycles, forests are selectively harvested, and fallow periods are respected, not out of abstraction, but lived experience. A hillside stripped too quickly erodes. A spirit neglected invites illness. A monsoon disrespected destroys homes. In northern Laos, tradition is not nostalgia. It is data accumulated across generations. As the Mekong flows below and clouds gather above the hills, these cultures endure not because they resist change, but because they have mastered adaptation. Their customs, shaped by rain, river, and ridge, offer a quiet lesson for a warming world. Sustainability is not an innovation, it is inheritance. As our voyage reaches its zenith, the Mekong's rhythms gather into ceremony. Boon Swang Hewa, the boat racing festival, one of Laos's most important river rituals and among the oldest continuously practiced festivals in mainland Southeast Asia. Timed to October, it coincides with Ok Phansa, the end of Buddhist Lent, when monks emerge from 3 months of retreat and communities give thanks for the river's safe passage through the monsoon season. A festival shaped by hydrology and belief, Boon Swang Hewa is inseparable from the Mekong's annual flood pulse. By October, water levels begin to stabilize after rising 10 to 14 meters during peak monsoon months, creating conditions ideal for racing. Historically, the festival marked the moment when villages assessed whether embankments had held, rice fields survived inundation, and fishing grounds would replenish for the dry season ahead. In Luang Prabang, Vientiane, Pak Beng, and river towns along both the Mekong and Nam U, communities spend weeks preparing longboats. Traditionally carved from single hardwood logs, such as teak or mai khain, though modern, boats increasingly use laminated wood and fiberglass to preserve forests. Racing vessels range from 20 to 35 meters, crewed by 40 to 60 paddlers, depending on regional style. Each boat represents a village, monastery, or occupational guild, transforming the races into expressions of communal identity rather than sport alone. Precision, discipline, and sound. On race day, the river becomes a living amphitheater. Crews paddle in perfect synchrony, driven by a drum caller who sets cadence with sharp, accelerating beats. The physical demands are extreme. Elite rowers train for weeks, developing endurance comparable to competitive rowing teams. Yet ritual remains paramount. Boats are blessed by monks before launching, smeared with turmeric or rice paste for protection, and addressed as living beings. Spectators gather on bamboo stands draped with prayer flags and lanterns, while vendors sell grilled river fish, sticky rice, and fermented snacks. Wagers may be placed informally, but overt. Commercialization remains limited in northern towns, preserving the festival's ceremonial core, the Naga and the river's covenant. Underlying every race is reverence for Phaya Naga, the mythical serpent believed to inhabit the Mekong's depths. In Lao cosmology, the Naga governs rainfall, fertility, and river flow. Offerings, banana leaf boats, krathong, bearing candles, flowers, incense, and coins, are released onto the water at dusk, symbolizing gratitude for fish stocks, irrigation, and safe transport, and petitions for protection from floods, erosion, and drought. In some communities, Bon Swang Hoa blends with Lai Hoa Phai, the illuminated boat procession more common in central and southern Laos, where elaborately lit floats glide along the river at night. Scholars note that these rituals likely predate Buddhism, later absorbed into Theravada practice, a classic example of animist Buddhist syncretism that defines Lao spiritual life. Contemporary revival and responsible tourism. In 2025, under national initiatives promoting cultural and low-impact travel, Northern River festivals have drawn increased international attention. Unlike mass events elsewhere in the region, participation here is deliberately moderated. Community guidelines limit motorized traffic, prioritize local homestays, and encourage travelers to observe respectfully. No climbing on boats, no drones over races, and modest dress at ceremonies. For villagers, the festival remains less about visitors than continuity. It reinforces intergenerational knowledge, how to read currents, how to cooperate under pressure, how to honor forces larger than oneself. In an era of upstream dams and climate uncertainty, where altered flows threaten fisheries and sediment cycles, Bon Swang Hoa has taken on renewed meaning as an assertion of river stewardship. The river's final word, as drums fade and candlelit offerings drift downstream, the Mekong reminds us why slow travel matters here. This is not a river to conquer or consume, but one to listen to. Through stories, rituals, and the measured stroke of a paddle. Northern Laos offers no spectacle without context, no beauty without responsibility. Drift gently, observe deeply, give thanks often. The Mekong continues its long journey to the sea, and for those who travel with care, it carries something rarer than memory: belonging.